All right, welcome back, everyone, for another episode of Top 10 Toys. This is my toy show where I talk about, basically pick a subject and I run through the 10 most valuable action figures that tie in with said subject. This is one of many shows that I'm trying out here on Toy Informer. Hopefully, you're enjoying it as well as everything else here on the channel. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure you like, you subscribe, you hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. You keep telling your friends so we can keep growing this tiny little channel. And if you haven't tried Whatnot before, first-time users, please use my link below and you get yourselves a free $15 to spend on whatever you want with whomever you want. No strings attached. Just to give the app a try, you get a free 15 bucks. You'll help the channel and you get yourself something nice. So you really don't have anything to lose there. And if you are in the market for supplies for your collectibles, whether they be bags, boards, boxes, top loaders, anything you might need to keep your collectibles safe and sound, use my link to BCW below and use my code RENA10 to get yourselves 10% off, because why not save money if you can? I mean, there's no harm in getting a discount if you're going to be spending it already. So there you go. Use my code and get yourselves 10% off. Now, if you just want to see the list I have for you this week, despite the fact that the Joker 2 movie is not doing very well in the movie theaters, I thought it was still a good idea for us to follow up last week's Joker show and basically give you guys Harley Quinn this week, because we can still celebrate the classic figures even if the movie that's out right now isn't all that great. I haven't seen it personally, but I have very little interest in it. It just didn't seem like it was my cup of tea from the moment I heard about it. I didn't love the first one as much as many, but again, that doesn't mean we still can't take this opportunity to talk about some of the figures that might tie in, as since it's fresh on everybody's minds. So that's what we are going to do today. We are going to be looking at the top 10 Harley Quinn toys, because I think that's going to be a fun subject for us to cover. So with that all said, if you want to see the list, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I will be right back. Okay, so as I mentioned there in the open, this week for Top 10 Toys, we are going to be focusing in on Harley Quinn. Yes, I know you guys are probably thinking, yeah, well, that Joker movie, it didn't look all that good. Maybe, maybe not. But it doesn't mean we can't look at these awesome Harley Quinn figures that are still out there, going back to her original days to what we're getting today. Before we get there, remember, there may not be as many versions of her as we had last week with the Joker. Remember, we had Nicholson, we had Jared Leto, we had Heath Ledger, we had Joaquin Phoenixes, we had the animated, we had multiple Jokers that we could talk about there. And that didn't even count like things we could have gotten to Gotham, the TV show, etc. But Harley doesn't have quite as many options for us to look back on. So let's look at the ones that we do have. Yes, there is the classic, the original from the animated series, where she began, where she grew from basically a nothing side character into one of the pillars, you would have to say, today for DC. I know everybody looks at the Trinity, but outside of that, I mean, she is one of their biggest draws. So impressive to say the least. So we do have that classic version. She's even warranted herself a couple of movies at this point. I mean, she kind of headlined both Suicide Squads and has that Birds of Prey movie as well. So we have Margot Robbie's classic version now, since she's played her a few times. So there's another rendition of her. Yes, a different look from that original Harley Quinn in the jester sort of suit, but new version, another version. And yes, we do have the version that's in theaters right now with Lady Gaga doing whatever they decided to do with this movie. So we have that option now as well, as far as live action goes. Yes, there's plenty of video games. There's plenty of those DC movies to get to, as well as the original animated series. Yeah, but I don't think those really hold like a nostalgic kind of point that we can kind of fixate on. So outside of these three that I just gave you, the only other one I think that's worth mentioning is probably one of my favorites, is actually the animated series on HBO Max. Yes, it's not for kids, and it is voiced by Penny from Big Bang Theory, but I think she did a hell of a job with this character. Yeah, I enjoyed this show quite a bit. So we have that one as well. Whichever one is your favorite, we're going to run through all the different figures, because some of these figures might tie into some of these cartoons and video games, movies, etc. But what we're not going to do is, just like with the Joker last week, is we're not going to cover those Hot Toys, those sideshows, those NECAs, those expensive action figures, because it's not apples to apples. They're not as easy to find. And yes, they're probably pretty expensive and pretty valuable. But when you're buying in at $200 a piece, it's not a market for everyone. We can do those again another time, and eventually I will get into covering those higher end action figure collectibles. But for now, we are not going to be looking at these, the sideshows and whatnot with the wool hairs and the multiple points of articulation and the extra pieces galore that you get with these things that cost you again like 200-300 bucks. We're not going to cover those, unfortunately, today. We're going to get more in those things that you basically had access to, could have gotten off the shelf or ordered them online, etc. Just your regular run-of-the-mill type of figures. So, with that all said, we will start off our list by going into the honorable mentions first. So we do mostly every time I do one of these, we're going to talk about those ones that didn't quite make the cut for one reason or another and should be spotlighted here. There were a handful of other figures that I could have covered here. These are not the two that just missed out as far as price goes. These are just two that I thought were worth mentioning, starting off first with the Icons edition. It is a classic Harley look. It is modern take of it. It's not the Bruce Timm animated style. It is more than what you would see drawn in the comic books. So it is the iconic kind of image in that classic uniform. She's got her huge hammer, a couple of extra hands, and she even has like that big pistol pop gun thing that she has going on there. This figure is pretty cool, and it is one that almost made the list. It's a DC collectible that came out in 2016. Here's, again, the accessories and whatnot you can see there. Pretty good mold, a lot of articulation there. This thing, it cost $23 when it came out, thereabouts. MSRP, that's the best number I could find. Depending on where you bought it, the price could vary a little bit, but basically around 23 bucks is what this would have cost at the outset, and now it'll get you about $35. So not too bad. In the package, still, in the package, it'll get you about 35 bucks. Not a huge increase, not a lot of money you're going to be making on this thing, but still worth noting in case you have one of these in your collection, for now. Now, this next one also could have potentially made the list. Well, we'll get into it in a second, but it's a little different. This is actually a Lego set, sort of. It's like a little add-on edition. There's 63 pieces here. You get a couple of minifigs and a couple of little pieces to go along with it. Nothing huge, not like a big vehicle or anything like that. You're getting a Batman, you're getting a Harley, you're getting a Penguin, and extra little accessories here, as you can see here. This is out of Lego, just from 2021. You can make a little duck. You got these little bombs, etc. A little bit of cash. Fun little accessories. Add-on little figures for a Batman set that would have cost you 15 bucks. Like, you're basically paying $5 a minifigure and you're getting a few little extra things to go with it. 15 bucks, not terrible. Now, the Harley in here is probably the biggest draw out of the group. Pretty cool. You got a couple of faces that you could spin her head around. You get the other option. But so this is the version of Harley you would have gotten with this set. There aren't too many Harley Lego minifigs, and this is one that a lot of people would want to collect. So they go and chase out this set, which actually gets about 40 bucks if it's still sealed. But I'm not counting it in my main list because it has those extra figures. At that price, you have to buy the whole set. It's not just for the Harley. So we're just going to put that one aside. I know it's weird, but we're going to leave that there for now. So those being the honorable mentions, let's just get right into, the main list now. So starting off with our top 10, let's just get right into it with our first one.
Number 10.
And at number 10, we are going to start off our list with this DC Universe Classic Edition. This is a Build-A-Figure set. You can see the Build-A-Figure piece in there goes towards a Grodd. It's one of the big pieces for Grodd. So it's going to have a little bit of a draw because of that as well, because people might want to build the Build-A-Figure, and that is a big piece that they're going to need. But it is still a pretty cool Harley. Again, it's going back to the classic jester type outfit that she had. She's got her big hammer, and yeah, the skin tone being blue, it looked a little weird on many of the pictures and images that I found for this one, but it is what it is. I mean, not all of them have that tint. It's just some of the way that the plastic is kind of molded, because some other ones you can see here, she does have the normal, pale white face. But $10 at the time when this thing came out back in, 2011? And this thing will net you $35. So, like, as you can see, as far as price goes, that last Lego was more than this. But since it had the 3 figures and it wasn't just all about the Harley, it didn't feel right to put it on the list. So we decided to go this way with it. We being me. So $35, your average sale on this DC Universe edition. Now, most of these figures I'm going to show you are basically that 6-inch scale, 1/12 normal size. So that's kind of what we're working with. There will be a couple of ones that don't meet that criteria, like our next one, but most of these, like I said, will be those 6-inch scale figures. So with that said, let's get on to our next one.
Number 9.
And coming in at number 9, we have another Lego. Now, this is also going to be a little bit different because this Lego set for itself, if you can get the whole box and everything, like this is $100 plus. This is like $110, and it's not a lot of places to get this whole collection set with the Bat Cycle and Harley Quinn's hammer truck. So we're not talking about that. Yes, this is the box she would have come in, and this is the Lego that you would get. And you see it's the classic version of her. Inside, you could build out her hammer truck, and you can build out the Bat Cycle. So you get a Batman, you get a Harley minifig. Really cool. This came out in 2008, a good long while ago. So that's also part of the price. I mean, it is, it's been retired. Like they don't make this anymore. So the price being as it is for the whole set is expensive, but that's not why it's on the list. I'm talking about just, in this case, just the loose Harley. If you can find just the Harley in her original, Harley Quinn kind of outfit, just this little minifig alone, the MSRP of $30, that's what the whole set cost. When it came out, the whole Lego set was only $30. And now, like I said, it's like over 100. But Harley alone, now, had you bought that set, goes for more than that. Because yes, the whole box would have cost you 30. It's $100 plus now. But just that Harley figure can get you $35.73 just for that little minifigure. I know there's a lot of I don't want to say bootlegs, but a lot of methods out there where people now make their own minifigures, etc. So you got to watch for those. But if you can get an official, original Harley figure from this set, it's like over $35. So just keep that in mind. And with that, let's keep it rolling.
Number 8.
So coming in here at number 8, we're going back with another DC Collectibles version. It's very similar to the icons that we showed out there in the honorable mentions, but slightly different. You can see here inside, you are getting, another one of those huge little magnums, as well as another huge hammer. Looks more like the comic, not as cartoony as the animated series. So it's more comic accurate, I guess you would say. And it's still that classic suit, because this is the biggest draw. There are a lot of Harley figures out there with all the different movies. You got all the Margot Robbie figures that have her in dresses and gold sequins and fluffy jackets from Birds of Prey, etc. All of those things actually don't do all that well. The classic look is the biggest draw for her figures. It's quite simple. That's what you're going to see here when we look through most of this list. This look is the look that most collectors want to have in their collections. But this came out in 2019. Again, another DC collectible. There's a better look at the sculpt. You got a nice little grin there, nice little smile. Very close to the other one, but it is still different. It is a different mold. This would have cost about $23. Given the time period, that's what the DC collectibles were going for. Now, in the box, you can still get a little over $40 for this thing. So, again, not a huge increase. Not like getting $35 for a minifigure, but still not too bad and worth noting here at number 8. So Harley Quinn, the DC collectibles, direct from the source. This, comes from, you would get through your Diamond catalog distributor at the time. Now I guess it would be Lunar, since that's where DC's getting shipped out of. But $40 for our number 8, and let's keep it going.
Number 7.
Coming in our number 7 spot, we have a McFarlane DC Multiverse figure. As I mentioned, there are so many versions of her now out of the McFarlane end of things that just, they're less than what they cost. They're you can find them discounted. You can find them in your Ollie's, etc. There are a lot of figures, a lot of different looks, a lot of different molds, etc. Here, again, going back to the classic Paul Dini, Bruce Timm action, that vibe. This figure here is the one that's coming in here at number 7. This one came out in 2020, DC Multiverse. You can see here, once again, you got that little pop gun magnum thing, another hammer, you get a card, you get a stand, and you get the classic look. And it's the animated look. This thing would have cost you, when it came out, about $20. $20, not too bad. Go to your Walmart, your Target, etc. $20 if you could find it. Ain't terrible. Now, this thing will get you about 46 plus. So $46.38 is the average sale price. Ain't too bad of a return if you can find one of these. Because again, most of the McFarlane figures do not have this sort of premium attached to them. They're few and far between. Most of them, because they're, I don't want to just say that they're mass produced, but they're just out there. They just are. And there just isn't that much of a market or aftermarket, I would say, for many of these figures. So just be mindful of that. This is a rarity, really. But with that, let's keep going.
Number 6.
And at number 6, we're going to go back to the video game side of things. Arkham Asylum. This figure came out all the way back in 2011. It was part of DC Direct, which is very similar. It was what I mentioned in the Joker show. Before DC Collectibles, there was DC Direct. Then they kind of shifted and changed the names, but that's where you would have got it. You can basically could have ordered it direct from the source through your previews catalog at your LCS. You could have gotten these things. But 2011, this is based off of the video game version of Harley from Arkham Asylum. You can see here, cool mold. You got that whole gothic angle here. You got the fishnets, etc. Cool game, fun game. It was difficult to get used to for me personally, but yeah, it was worth its time. Cost about $23 at the time for a lot of these figures. I mean, it could have been about 20 to 23. It really depends on where you would have gotten it from, but that's the kind of the suggested price. And again, you see here, it's a very cool mold. And today, this one would edge out our last one just by a little bit with a 46.84 average. So just a bit over our last one, brings this one in at number 6 as opposed to number 7. And it has got a cool box. So you got Arkham Asylum, the Series 1 figure with that nurse, I guess. It was kind of like a nurse angle because they were in Arkham. That's where the video game took place. So yeah, it made sense. Now, with that said, let's get into the top half of our list.
Number 5.
Now we're going to get to the part where we might be dealing with some 2-packs. I told you I left out the Lego because that was like a 3-pack, 3-piece set. There were 3 figures in it and a bunch of extra stuff. It was kind of like I didn't want to include the whole full Lego as part of this pricing thing. Otherwise, that, number 9 Harley would have been much higher on the list. I just counted just the minifig. And the minifig just from the that first set on the honorable mentions, that one only goes for maybe for $15, so it wouldn't have made the cut anyway. But here we have another 2-pack. This is the classic Mad Love edition. So you got Joker, you got Harley together, bunch of little accessories here. This one came out of the DC Universe collectibles around 2011. You can see here they both had hammers. There's a fish. There's her pop gun. You got kind of like a cane there. The Joker's got, and he's got some cards in his tux. Cool. While this is called the Mad Love edition, they're even posed more in that Harley special. So, the one, the Alex Ross. That's kind of how they're boxed and packaged and how they're dressed. So I don't know why they called it Mad Love, but they did. But this one was $32 when it came out. But it is a 2-pack for 2 figures. So that's what the extra cost would have been. And today, if you still have one in box, you're talking about $53.33. So over $50 for this 2-pack. Ain't too bad. Pretty cool. Once again, the figures, this is for the adult collector, as it says on the outside. But the figures, I believe, are still in that 6-inch sort of scale. So not too bad of a set there for that price when you think about it. You're getting 2 figures out of it. But it's listed as the DC Classic Mad Love. Now, this is going to be a little interesting because we might see a different one coming here in our next spot.
Number 4.
And at number 4, we have another Mad Love set, but this is from the animated series. And again, you remember the one-shot comic that they had, and it did have more of this animated look, not as opposed to the Alex Ross painted cover look for the Harley Quinn, that one-shot that many people chase. But here we go, Batman Mad Love. This was also from DC Collectibles. This set came out a few years later. This was in 2016. You can see here, you got like a little bit of a 90 version. It's a little bit different. I believe they tried to issue another 2-pack with these two, with different outfits for both. We had the Joker in the black suit, and then she had her original costume on. But for this set, this is the one we're looking at here with her in her lingerie, if you will. This thing cost about $40 when it came out, so the MSRP on it was $40. Again, it's two figures, it's a two-pack, so makes a lot of sense that it would cost a bit more. And today, you'd still get even more than that, as the average sale price on this box, if it's still sealed, $67.12. So over $67 on this one isn't too bad either. So keep an eye out for this if you're out there hunting or collecting, because some of these things, again, are quite collectible, and people still want them even to this day. Which will take us into our top 3, right? Here we go.
Number 3.
Coming in at number 3, we have another 2-pack, but it's not the Joker this time. This is Mr. Hammer, our one-armed, huge Joker goon hanging out with Harley from Arkham City. So, Arkham City was this was the third game, I believe, in the series. Right? I think it was Arkham Asylum, and then there was Origins, and then Arkham City. Or maybe I'm flip-flopping, and this is the second one. Point being, sequel to Arkham Asylum. We still have that Harley with that dark gothic look, and we've got Mr. Hammer included in this set as well. DC Collectibles, this came out in 2014, so a couple years after. Again, it was the follow-up game to the other one. So this might have been the second one. Maybe Origins was the third one. Huge hammer, as you can see there, for our Mr. Hammer. No shoes, but still cool little molds. It's not too bad. I'm not in love with the mold on the Harley here. I prefer the Arkham Asylum version, but different tastes. This could be somebody else's favorite look for her. $35 for this 2-pack isn't too bad. Again, at that same kind of 1/12 scale, so that's like a 6-inch-ish type of figure. This set, however, $68.33 on average. So a little bit more than our Mad Love, puts it in that third spot. $35 to $68 isn't too bad of a premium when you think about it at the end of the day. Which leaves us with only 2 left. 2 left for our Harley list this week, and let's keep it going.
Number 2.
And coming in our second spot, we have the DC Bombshells figure. This is part of the designer series where they kind of made these figures look like the artist renditions of them. So we had different figures across different lines, etc., different looks based off of different artists. So here we have Aunt Lucia, who gave us this bombshell design. I believe it was I don't remember the issue, but they had those bombshell covers for a while. And they even had a bombshell series that you could have gotten these looks. But it's still a fun look for Harley with that bomber jacket. It's got the woolly collar, etc. Not too bad here. 2017 is when this came out through DC Collectibles. You see, you got a few extra sets of hands, same big pop gun that she carries around, and a different version of a huge hammer. This time it looks like a whiskey barrel on the end of a stick, basically. But still, really cool mold. I like the look here. I like the goggles. This is a fun figure. This is a fun figure that would have cost $24 when it came out. And if you still had one, it's a good return on this one, as this one is getting almost $75 on average. So $74.75 is the average sale price here on this bombshell figure. And that would have been a good get if you had one of these sitting around, because again, like I said, it's a pretty cool figure. I like this one. I probably would have gotten this one had I been collecting these figures at the time, but I wasn't. I mean, even now, I got to try to limit the amount of toys because I don't have enough room for the comics that I have, let alone the toys I want to collect. But with that said, that's our number 2, which leaves us with just one left.
And our number 1.
And coming in at number 1, like our Joker list, it's the same DC Collectible Expressions pack. Yeah, it's a bit of a cheat. There is one figure and then a bunch of other little accessories. It's a little bit of a cheat because it is a pretty big box for a figure, but still a heck of a return on this thing. And look at all the stuff you get inside of this. You're getting multiple heads, as you can see here. You're getting, is it Bud and Louie? I think were the name of the hyenas originally. You got some roller skates. You got like a little Joker staff. You got some smoke that goes in the end. You got a little punching bag glove, a big launcher, a bottle of something, and a weird fish costume for her too. So if you wanted a fish version of her walking around, you could get that based off of the animated series. A lot of fun stuff. To give you a little bit of a better look at the different heads, here you go. A lot of different expressions that you can swap out and pose her and put her in all these different kinds of crazy little little scenarios. If you open this box up and decide to display your figures, as many people do, put her in a glass case. Again, change the expressions out however you see fit. And you got your 2 hyenas to go with her as well. $40 when this came out, which again isn't terrible considering all of the stuff you're getting inside this box to go with this figure. I mean, look at how much the Hot Toys and the sideshows cost. $40, it's a deal. But here you go. Here's an example of what you could do with some of those accessories. You can swap out her head, give her a funny face, put the pistol in her hand, add the smoke, and it's a little fun little thing you can go and display and change on the fly. But for your $40 buy-in, what would it go for today? Well, a whopping $181 plus on average. Yes, these things still sell. People still go and collect these things. And if you still got one in a box, it's a 20-year anniversary thing when it came out back in 2018. Over $180. That ain't bad. So that's a good return on an action figure investment. So with that was our number 1. And that is our list for this week. Next week, I might pivot on over to look ahead. Maybe we'll check out some Venom figures. And I'm also thinking about doing a Marvel card show during the week. So trying to get back on a more regular schedule here on Toy Informer to get you guys all your toy content that I know that you're enjoying and other collectibles as well. Check out the popcorn show that I dropped this past week to see other stuff. Like I said, there's a lot of weird stuff we collect, and it's all kind of fun to cover. So stick around with me, join me on this ride as we go through all different avenues of collecting, covering multiple things, not just toys. And thanks for stopping by and supporting the channel, and I'll see you all soon with some more content. All right, bye.